Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Callie and I'm so glad you're here today. My card today uses the new Winter Wishes stamp set from Kathy Zilski for Simon Says Stamp, and I'm creating a winter wreath. This card is so simple, and in order to create our wreath, I'm going to be using the Altenew Stampwheel. This is a layered stamp set, and there are lots of pretty little blooms as well as a variety of foliage stems. And I really think that you can make a spring and summer card with this stamp set as well. Now, to create a wreath in my stamp wheel, usually I would center my panel. However, I wanted my wreath to sit a little bit higher up, so I moved my panel down just a little bit. And now I'm going to start stamping. The idea of the stamp wheel, if you haven't seen one yet or used one, is pretty simple. You just flip the plate, apply your ink, and then flip the plate again to stamp. When you're making a wreath, you can just turn the plate however many degrees you want and get a rotating pattern. However, I only stamped this main flower twice, so I didn't use this Altenew wheel to its full advantage. I'm flipping it 180 degrees, so it's super simple, and I'm not really turning my plate or rotating it clockwise or counterclockwise as I would for a more repetitive pattern. Okay, so moving on to a smaller flower, I do use another pink color. So I'm just going to add some flowers on either side of that larger flower and then also stamp the details before moving on to some foliage. I think the stamp wheel is really nice for wreaths because, as you can see, I don't have to flip or rotate my cardstock, and I can easily see and position where I want my stamp and then repeat the pattern on the other side simply by turning that flip plate. Now, there's a lot of different foliage stems on this set, so I'm just going to use a few of the smaller ones to fill up this wreath. The detailed stamp of the main leaf can also be used as pine stems, so that's what I'm doing here with some pine ink. I thought that's cool to be able to use that stamp two different ways. And then I'm going to stamp some berries as well. Adding these berries allows me to use a bit more red in my wreath, so that gives it a bit more interest. Then to finish this wreath, I'm going to use some more little foliage stems and apply a dark teal color to give my wreath a bit more color. Next, to give my card panel some more interest and texture, I'm going to be running that panel through the Soft Snowfall embossing folder. Once I have it lined up nice and straight, I'm going to run it through my die cutting machine. And what we have is a soft snowfall texture on this wreath panel. Once the embossing is done, I'm going to go ahead and trim the sides off this panel just to make sure that it's nice and crisp. And then I'm going to add some texture to my card panel. Now, you know I love to add splatters, especially when there's a one-layer panel like this. I want to give my card as much texture as possible. I've added some gold splatters to this, and while it dries, I'm going to go ahead and work on a sentiment. In my stamp wheel, I'm going to prepare a piece of black cardstock, then stamp this Winter Wishes sentiment from the Winter Wishes stamp set with some Versamark ink so that I can emboss this panel with some white powder. After applying that white powder, I'm going to go ahead and heat set that and then buff off that embossing powder with a towel. It just cleans the paper right up and we can get that black back. This stamp set does have coordinating dies, so I'm using a die to die cut my sentiment, then I'll add some foam squares on the back and adhere that to the center of my wreath. Another new product for Simon Says Stamp are some twine on a cute little spool. So I'm using some pink and silver twine now. This is the only one that's available as of yet, and I'm sure there will be more. But I'm going to go ahead and trim off a length and then tie a little bow just underneath the sentiment there, and then trim off the tails when I'm done tying my bow. The card is pretty much done here, but I decided to add a few more bits of interest. So of course we have some sequins from the new release. This is the gumdrop sequins, and I'm just going to add a few here and there. I'm going to choose some yellow ones for the flower centers, then I'll add some greens and pinks, and there's some blues there as well. Just a little bit of sparkle and interest for our card to finish. And that completes my card for today. I hope you enjoyed this. Be sure to check out all the fabulous products from this All the Joy release from Simon Says Stamp. Everything I use will be linked on my blog as well as in the descriptions below. Thank you so much for stopping by and have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye.